What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Clearly, today's what if is one that we haven't covered in a while. The last part came out many months ago, and it wasn't because I forgot it. I never actually do forget any of my what ifs. Really, it was more of a matter of popularity. It didn't seem like too many people were interested, so this one did go on a temporary hiatus. But recently I did a poll asking which one I should bring back, since there are a couple what ifs in the same situation. It seems people were most interested in this one returning, and I actually agree. Of all the what ifs on hiatus, this one interests me the most. I am biased after all. It's about Piccolo, why wouldn't I like this one? But yeah, we're bringing it back just as the test. But what'll decide if it keeps continuing is the like goal. That'll show me that there's interest in the series. Let's set a like goal of 3,000 likes. If we hit that, I'll continue the scenario with another part. Anyways, let's pick up from here. So you'd probably want a bit of a recap. I recommend going back and watching the first 3 parts because there's a lot of important stuff there that you may have missed, especially if you're new to this scenario. But even if you're not new, it has been a while, so I'd recommend checking it out. I'll make a playlist and link that in the comments, as well as the top of this video. We left off in kind of a tricky situation. Trunks came back in the past, and the androids Hero dealt with, except for one, that being Cell. Cell may have not gotten the androids to absorb here, but he was able to pull a really smart maneuver, stealing Trunks' time machine and going to his timeline to absorb the androids there. So not only is Cell going to achieve his perfect form in that timeline, but it leaves Trunks stuck here, thinking about what to do next. He's frustrated, but he knows there might be a way back. If he gets Bulma to make a time machine, that'll at least help him. But still, that's gonna take a while. Even though Bulma here has all the resources for it, and actually more resources than future Bulma would have, it's still an issue because Bulma knows nothing about how to do time travel. She's starting right at square one, so at best, it would take a few years. Which is still more than enough time for Cell to accomplish whatever he wants. It seems almost pointless. And Piccolo tries to think of a solution. He's about to bring up the Dragon Balls, but then he remembers. Back to everything he learned from the Namekian Book of Legends. He doesn't know how he didn't realize this before. But after what he learned, he probably should be avoiding time travel. No one's really sure why. Especially since Trunks already did it anyways. Well, Piccolo begins to explain. Time travel goes against all universal laws, and if they get caught doing it, it could anger the God of Destruction. Okay, everyone's officially lost now. No one knows what a God of Destruction is, and why they would even be mad. So Piccolo has to explain that too. This universe has both a Supreme Kai and a God of Destruction. The Kai is responsible for creation, while the God of Destruction is responsible for, you guessed it, destruction. However, for some reason, Piccolo didn't learn much about this God of Destruction. His name's Beerus, and apparently he's pretty strong. But beyond that, he doesn't know much more, and has no clue why there's not that much info. It really is because Beerus spends most of his time sleeping and being lazy. But of course Piccolo doesn't know about that. Either Beerus is inactive for some reason, or he's just lurking in the shadows, watching everything without acting at all. So yeah, maybe Shenron could help them make a time machine of sorts. But there's the issue of it potentially angering the God of Destruction, and also, what would they do once they get the time machine? Cell's already got a head start and he probably already absorbed the androids by now, so once they actually do get back to that timeline, how are they supposed to face Cell? They would have to prepare first anyways. So even if Beerus wasn't an issue, there's still this big problem. Trunks hates to admit it, but Piccolo's right. Everything he said is true. They would need to somehow get stronger in order to face Cell, and that's even if they're able to get a time machine at all. Simply put, Trunks just lost, and Cell seemingly won. The best course of action for Trunks now is for him to stay back here, getting stronger with the help of others. He can't help but feel frustrated though, and this is going to stick with him. He hopes that everything in the future is okay. Maybe Cell didn't destroy everything after all, but there's no way to know for sure, and he doesn't really want to take that risk. If anything, they expect Cell to come back to this timeline eventually, but they don't know when or if that'll even happen. So for now, they just sit with this in mind. Bulma attempts to work on a time machine over the next few years, but it still seems pointless. She has all the research and all, but actually building a time machine, it seems like a waste of time. No pun intended. Going through all the effort for Trunks to just be killed possibly, it's not worth it at all. It was fun to get all the information, but for the same reasons that Piccolo mentioned, she's wary about going through with it. Anyways, with Trunks now in the past, he could train with everyone else here. One of the great things is that he now has more training partners. Everyone here is actually alive, which as you could guess is better than what was in his timeline. He can learn a lot from Piccolo and Goku, and although Gohan's a kid here instead of being an adult, Trunks is still happy to see him again. Maybe he can continue future Gohan's legacy and train this Gohan, honoring his memory in a way. Piccolo does have one good idea though, something that Trunks could really benefit from. He places a hand on Trunks' head and begins unlocking his potential. Surprisingly, there's a lot in there, as expected of a hybrid Saiyan. Trunks isn't sure what he's doing, but he suddenly feels his power get a huge boost. It's only natural that Piccolo would want to do this. Not only is it good for Trunks, but it's good for everyone else. It'll help with any fights going forward if they ever encounter any, and it's at least a good test to see if he's strong enough to defeat Cell. But to be fair, they don't really know how strong Cell is, and how strong he'd get if he gets both the androids. But it's at least nice to test it out. This unlock of potential gives Trunks a great boost in power. It's not huge like something like Ultimate, but it's good enough to be noticeable. They could really make great use of this during training. With Trunks around, everyone's gonna have a better time. They'll have any of the knowledge he learned at Super Saiyan after having it for so long, and they have a better training partner, which is pretty nice. So, what actually did happen in the future? I mean, we could sit here and theorize what might have happened, but instead, I think it would be better to actually go there and see what's going on. So let's rewind a bit, or I guess fast forward, I don't really know the correct term. Whatever, let's go back to when Cell actually stole a time machine. He goes to the future, happy to have accomplished his goal. He might have not gotten the androids in that timeline, but it doesn't matter. This extra timeline means he could actually have a chance. Although, this timeline's a lot more run down. Everything's pretty much destroyed and he doesn't see a lot of humans in sight. Sure, some survivors are here and there, but he doesn't care about them. He cares about the androids, and it's not too hard to find them. I mean, they're the only people capable of blowing up cities, so he just has to wait for a good opportunity. Eventually, he does catch up to them, and the androids are surprised to see him. They don't know who this freak show is, but he seems strong. Maybe this guy can give them a good fight. And you know what? Yeah, Cell goes along with it. This guy may be a creep, but he packs a lot of power. Although he's purposely holding back to get the androids off guard, they think Cell's actually weaker than he is. Kicking him around is their plaything. This lowers their guards a lot, and they think they have the upper hand on him, but really, Cell's much more stronger than the two of them even combined. With their guard lowered, Cell sticks out his tail and first gets Android 18, absorbing her quickly and transforming. Android 17's knocked back and doesn't know what happened, but he gets up and sees Cell is now transformed, and Android 18 is nowhere in sight. He wouldn't be angry about this, but if anything, he's scared right now. He begins stumbling back as Cell gets closer and closer to him. He quickly throws up a barrier, then trying to escape, but suddenly his barrier shatters as Cell's tail penetrates right through it, then expanding as Android 17 is absorbed next. Just as he planned, Cell then begins transforming once more into his perfect form. And as you could probably guess, he's pretty content right now. He descends back to the ground, thrilled with his new body. But then he sees something weird. A bunch of people start coming out from where they're hiding. Cell is ready to kill them, but something even weirder happens. They knew the androids were here a second ago, and they asked Cell if he knows where they went. He says simply that he killed them, and instead of them being scared, they're thrilled. They're happy that this guy actually did this. They don't know who Cell is, or where he came from, but apparently he killed the androids, which is great. This is going way different than Cell planned. Instead of just killing the androids and becoming perfect, this small group of people is now hailing him as a hero. They don't know what the hell he is. He might be some weird alien from outer space, some weird human mutation, whatever. He killed the androids, and that's all they know. Plus, Cell's perfect form kinda helps him. I mean, if they saw imperfect Cell, they'd be terrified. But perfect Cell, I mean, he at least looks somewhat human. And, come on, if we're being honest, he's pretty handsome. Like, compared to any other Dragon Ball villain, he's probably the most human looking and least scary of any of them. Well, besides the Red Ribbon Army and the Saiyans, obviously. But still, his appearance isn't that off-putting. Word spreads amongst the remaining survivors. Some handsome creature came and saved them from the androids. He's basically the new Mr. Satan in this timeline. Instead of Cell actually killing the humans, this could work in his favor. He can't get much joy out of killing all them. Sure, he probably would want to do it, and it wouldn't be hard to do, but that's the thing. It wouldn't give him any joy. How much fun could he have doing that? He doesn't pay much mind to it and instead just rolls with it. He could destroy Earth, but he actually wants to find Trunks and fight him now. The issue is, he doesn't have a time machine anymore. He kept it in a capsule with him, but during his fight with the androids it actually got destroyed. It was a pretty stupid oversight on his part, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. He'll find a way back eventually. Plus, there is someone responsible for building a time machine, Future Bulma. She actually is wondering where Trunks is now, and who this Cell guy is. She knows something's wrong. While everyone else is hailing Cell as hero, she knows that something's up with him. Trunks never returned, but now this guy's here and apparently he killed the androids. There has to be some sort of connection between the two. But she's not quite sure. In terms of Cell himself, he could go to Bulma for help, but he knows that might not actually work. He could kill her instead, then scouring her lab and trying to find that. But that also might not work. Bulma is too public of a figure to kill. If Cell kills her, well, then he will have to actually kill everyone on this planet and there'll be no point being here. And that wouldn't even guarantee him getting the time machine. He knows of the Dragon Balls, but there's no Piccolo, so that means no Dragon Balls. Instead, he's going to have to rely on his own intelligence, finding out more info about the time machine and trying to build his own in a way. There's no way Bulma will give it willingly, and there's no way he can get it by force. The great thing is he already has a lab. Jiro's lab. If he goes back there and tries working on it himself, maybe he could find something. Surely Jiro might have some research of his own about time travel. Plus, while he does have a destroyed capsule, it's not completely obliterated. He throws it down and the time machine is there. It's just broken. He could work with the scraps. So keep Cell in mind. He's not going to show up in this arc, but we'll see him again soon. Let's go back to the present timeline. They're pretty much in an era of peace right now. With the androids gone, everything's going pretty normal. Piccolo discovers something huge though, something that could really help him in terms of power. He has the ability to unlock people's potentials, but could he unlock his own potential? Well, he tries it and it actually works, except it's different. For him, he could use this constantly, indefinitely during battle. It's his own ability, and since he's the one that's able to do it, he could just continuously unlock his potential without end. Sure, this has diminishing gains after a while, but if he uses this while training and fighting, it really helps improve his growth. He basically created a weird version of the ultimate form. It's not the same, but somewhat similar. The more he fights, the more his potential grows, and the more his potential grows, the more his power grows. It's a giant snowball effect that helps him get stronger. He doesn't need any weird Super Saiyan forms like the Saiyans do. He just uses this. Think of it kind of like he got one of those Mountain Dew codes for Call of Duty that gives you double XP, and he's just using that constantly. Meanwhile, the Saiyans are all focused on improving Super Saiyan, trying to go beyond it somehow, because Goku thinks that's possible. But Piccolo's trying to think of something else. Maybe there's another way for them to get stronger. He remembers back to the Namekian Book of Legends, which had a lot of useful info. He thinks back to some of the techniques there, maybe something for himself and possibly for others. He remembers the way he got really strong is by fusing with Kami, and if only everyone else could fuse, that would make them really strong. But wait, he remembers. They can fuse. Sure, it's not the same as Namekian assimilation, but he tells everyone he has a new way of fusion. He can't believe he forgot about it. The Namekian Book of Legends had something about the Metamorans, and they had some weird technique where people could temporarily fuse into one warrior, combining the two separate strengths of the fusees, multiplying it greatly. He is really glad he got all that knowledge from his trip to Namek. There was so much useful stuff in the Namekian Book of Legends, and now he has all access to it. We'll see this more as the series continues. Piccolo's massive intelligence here is really the big thing that drives him, not just his physical prowess. He ends up teaching the fusion dance to everyone. Realistically, he would want to fuse with Goku. Goku is his rival after all, and it would be pretty fun, but there's kind of an issue with that. If he were to fuse with his friend, well, he would have to lower his power pretty considerably. In order to fuse, they have to be around a similar height and a similar power. Piccolo's pretty tall, but they should be able to pull off the fusion dance. The only issue is Piccolo's too strong. If they were to actually fuse, Piccolo would have to lower his power considerably. So maybe Goku would be better off finding a better fusion partner. Gohan's too short right now, so they're gonna have to wait a little bit for him to get older. But there is one person, someone similar in height and power. It's Trunks. Trunks was also learning the fusion dance, and Piccolo decides that maybe Goku and Trunks should try fusing. That'll probably create a really strong warrior, and it would be a great test. They're both fine with it, and they decide to test it out. After a few failures, they eventually get the hang of it, fusing into a brand new warrior. This is insane. The power that this warrior is giving off is awesome. And while I would love to give him a brand new design, I mean, when you consider it, he's probably just going to look like an older version of Gotenks, probably with slightly tweaked hair. But what would this guy's name be? Piccolo comes up with the perfect name, Trunku. Doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely as Goku or Trunks. But what are the other options? Gonks? Gokunks? Troku? This is the best option. This is great. He's glad that he thought of fusion because now they could actually hone it. Whenever they face a strong foe, they'll be able to use this when they need. So it's good that they're getting the practice in now. Let's fast forward a bit, going through the time skip and eventually getting to the World Tournament. Let's explore some powers first. In terms of strength, Piccolo's definitely the strongest of the group, and behind him, I would place Trunks there, with Gohan getting closer and closer to Trunks' level by the day, thanks to him being more motivated here. Behind Gohan is Goku, and one of the other great things is now Goten's old enough to be fighting more frequently. He'd be weaker than everyone else listed here, but still pretty strong in his own right. As for the humans, probably not much would change with them. Tenshinhan and Chaozu would go off on their own, Yamcha's probably more focused on his baseball career, and Krillin is Krillin. He'd be more focused on woman than training. Sadly, not Android 18. But anyways, the tournament begins, and not much is different besides the fact that Trunks is there replacing Vegeta. And since Goten was born earlier, he's probably old enough by now to actually join the adult division, replacing Android 18. I know this is later on, but they let Oob in there, so they should let Goten in, even though he's not really an adult. But Piccolo immediately notices that the Supreme Kai is there. Instead of being fearful of him, he decides to converse with him, asking why he would be on this planet. Shin explains a bit about Majin Buu and how Dabura and Babidi are here. Piccolo decides that they should track them down right now, but Shin says they have no way to do that. Piccolo knows a good way though. So Spopovich and Yamu, those guys are minions and they should know where Babidi is. He tells them to wait here for a second. He then comes back, telling them the location of Babidi's ship. How did he find it out though? Well, mind reading. I mean, it was a pretty simple solution, right? They could have done that, couldn't they? Oh, yeah, Shin guesses that's true. Well, they may as well go stop him now. Piccolo's kind of bummed because he did want to finish the tournament, but this seems more important. He feels he could do this alone, and he doesn't want to interrupt Goku, Gohan, or Trunks. They seem to be having fun and they're waiting for their matches. Piccolo's one of the last matches, so he should be able to make it back in time. He departs with Shin and Kibito, and they're kind of worried about all this, but Piccolo assures that it's okay. He feels he'll be strong enough to defeat any of the villains there. Plus, worst case scenario, he has the Mafuba. And this turns out to be true. They get to the ship and immediately, havoc ensues. Pui Pui and Yakon are killed, and Dabura seems to be a big threat, but Piccolo makes quick work of him. He's pretty adept with magic too. Not to mention his power's pretty great. Babidi's getting worried. All of his plans are crumbling right before him. But he has an idea. A perfect one, actually. Piccolo wasn't always pure-hearted. He looks into Piccolo's heart and mind. And while he might not be able to defeat Piccolo, he could possibly control him. Babidi teleports himself and Buzag elsewhere, trying to avoid Piccolo and the two Kais. He keeps looking in Piccolo's mind and eventually finds something perfect. Though Kami's influence is strong and his upbringing is pretty powerful, Piccolo can never run from his true past. He's the reincarnation of Demon King Piccolo. That's something that'll always be a part of him. That evilness is always there, even if it's never outwardly displayed. This shouldn't be too hard to manipulate. Suddenly, as Piccolo is searching for Babidi, he starts to feel weird, giving off a lot of power. He's trying to actually struggle for control. He tells Shin and Kibito what's happening, but he can't actually control it. It's almost as if there's two people fighting inside of him. Like Kami and Demon King Piccolo are at war in his mind. And with Babidi's help, King Piccolo is winning. At the World Tournament, everyone senses a huge spike in power. It's from Piccolo. Why is he so far away all of a sudden? They didn't even notice that he left. And they don't know what's going on, but Shin and Kibito can see clearly. They're right in front of him and they watch this terrifying transformation. Piccolo takes off the turban on his head, revealing a symbol on his forehead, the letter M. Unbeknownst to everyone else, Majin Piccolo has just been born, and this is where we'll leave off for now. So, what did you guys think about this part? What do you think will happen next time? How do you think Cell will come into the story later? And what do you think will happen with Majin Piccolo? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and let's try to hit that like from the beginning of the video so we can get another part of the series. If you haven't already, why not subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon and get notified about any future parts of this What If, or any other videos that I upload on my channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.